Guys, I am happy to report that NIO has achieved monopoly status with battery swap. Why is that the case? Because the closest competitor that also has battery swap here in China, which is Rising Auto, Feifan, and you guys probably heard about them. Some of you guys were concerned that they would take market share from NIO. Well, unfortunately, those guys are no longer going to exist. Also, in this video, we'll be talking about NIO's deliveries. NIO's weekly deliveries also just popped out, insurance registrations. We'll cover that in a moment. Rising Auto, they have just announced layoffs of 70% of their staff, and they are essentially going under. Well, back in January, they actually only delivered less than 2,000 vehicles per month. Absolutely unacceptable. And just last week, they delivered less than 200 vehicles per week. Not so good. And this is through the entirety of China. So what went wrong with their deliveries? So Rising Auto and IM Motors were all part of the SAIC, Shanghai Automobile Company. So they all got big money backing them, essentially. However, because of this price war, Rising Auto's vehicles, which used to be priced around a little bit over 200k RMB, and IM Motors priced above 300k RMB, well, due to the price war, IM Motors have significantly lowered the price of their vehicles, including the LS6, lowering that price down to around 240k-ish RMB, and that's exactly where Feifan, Rising Auto, their cars were at. And that just makes a very interesting dilemma. You know, which one do you choose? Do you choose IM LS6 or you choose the Rising Auto R7? Well, it's a no-brainer. Of course you choose the LS6. So that has forced Rising Auto to further cut prices and also suffer from lower sales. And their sales have gotten so bad, as I've said, only less than 2,000 in a single month in January. Unacceptable. They're basically ending things. They're probably no longer going to exist. I've read that they are going to be absorbed as part of Marvel. All right, there's another SAIC sub-brand called Marvel, which also sells electric vehicles, hybrids, and also gas vehicles, and it's going to be absorbed into that. And then you have Marvel provide the after sales servicing and all that kind of stuff, and then Rising Auto will pretty much not exist anymore. Now, Rising Auto really didn't take off because not only the sales problem with IM Motors, but also because the infrastructure just really wasn't there. They had like 30 some swap stations, and that's just completely unacceptable. How do you get the convenience if you only have 30 swap stations? You only have a couple, then where's that convenience? If I have to drive an hour to go and get a battery swap, how does that make any sense at all? So this is where NIO's strong infrastructure, the vast amount of battery swap stations, really play into NIO's favor. And it's apparent that NIO is a monopoly in the battery swap game. No one else has the number of swap stations that NIO has, or do they have cloud computing and processing that NIO has when it comes to dispatching orders and order management system, etc. NIO just does it the best. And with these partnerships, it's very, very clear that NIO is eventually going to be the standard in the future, even with these partners. Now let's talk about NIO's own deliveries. 2,200 last week, 5,500 so far until the 17th of March. So absolutely not good deliveries. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Not good deliveries. It looks like we're going to be getting around 10,000 deliveries. I'm pretty sure we're going to get over 10,000 deliveries for March. And the reason behind most of these low deliveries is just the lack of incentives. All right. Lack of incentives cause these low deliveries, but NIO came out with those massive amount of incentives, so we can expect deliveries for the future weeks all the way until the end of May to be significantly increased. You see, the past couple of weeks, it was an awkward period. They ran out of most of the popular 2023 variants of the vehicles that were heavily discounted, all right, inventory cars. And without those, the 2024 variant, when it was just launched, there were no discounts, no promos, not that much promo compared to what it is right now. So you can, of course, expect deliveries to be kind of low. And of course, NIO isn't going to sit there and just let deliveries be that low. NIO is going to do something. NIO is going to try to, of course, incentivize the sale of NIOs, giving NIO phones, gift cards, battery swap vouchers. They're giving away 36 free battery swap vouchers. And then if you go for BAS, you get another 60 battery swap vouchers. 96 battery swap vouchers. That's enough for you to swap for 2 years without paying a single dollar. And each swap voucher is probably worth around 100 RMB because that's just the cost of battery swap. So, that's a big amount of saving for these customers. And of course, after this policy came out, a lot of people are indeed pulling the trigger. NIO says they don't do price cuts, but they do these kind of steep discounts with heavy incentives that actually make the car cheaper than even a Tesla if you consider in all these incentives that they give you, which is absolutely crazy. So last year in March, NIO delivered 10,378 vehicles, and partially was due to they had a sort of a clearance sale of first-gen NIOs. And you got to remember, back then, a lot of NT 2.0 cars still weren't out. They released something like 8 new cars throughout 2023. And back then, those were not available, all right, in March. So 10,000 deliveries last year in March, and this year it looks like we're still going to be around 10,000 deliveries. Hopefully a little bit better, but one thing we can expect is Q1 deliveries to probably be a little bit less. So last year they delivered 31,041 vehicles for the first quarter of 2023. So far this year, they've delivered 18,187 for January plus February. That means even if we get 10,000, we're only looking at 28,000 deliveries. Not a fantastic number, not a fantastic result at all. Of course, NIO's not sitting on this. They're coming out with all those incentives to push for more sales. I think the new BAS policy really rescued deliveries, but we're not seeing the results just yet. We're going to be seeing it probably in the next couple of weeks up until the end of May. And then it'll be interesting to see what kind of policy they have for June. Will it be even more crazy than what the policy is right now? Even more incentives, because otherwise you can't really get sales. It's just the market. The market is like this. Everybody's making the cars a lot cheaper with better specs. They're fighting for deliveries. So NIO has to do something. You can't just sit still. You got to offer those incentives. So we are going to see a delivery boost in the next couple of weeks with these incentive policies and people getting their cars with these incentive policies throughout until the end of May. But of course, overall, I'm not that happy with year over year, Q1, not seeing much growth. That's not something you want to see. But remember, the whole entire market is shrinking. People are buying cheaper vehicles because of their limited budgets, etc. But do expect deliveries to recover in the next couple weeks. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.